Hello, 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 and welcome back to WorkHARDaholics. Today, we have a special guest from Henrico County, none other than Jeff Conley. Learn a little bit more about procurement. How do you do business with the county? What does it mean to be a minority? How can they help you? Let's find out. Just a moment. Welcome to the WorkHARDaholic Show with your host, the original WorkHARDaholic, Shirley Crawford, author, speaker, and small business consultant for over 20 years, helping you to work hard, play harder, and business better. Hello, 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 and welcome back to WorkHARDaholics. Once again, I am very excited today because when we talk about small business owners, resources, people that you should know and be aware of, I've got a gem for you today. That's right, I said it, I meant it, I'm not scared. I'm excited because I have the Jeff Conley in with me today. And if you don't know who Jeff is, you'll thank me later. Hello, Jeff.
Shirley, what a great introduction. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
It's
allowing
not
me
like
to be here.
it's not like you don't merit it.
Oh, you're
I'm
sweet.
gonna
Thank
tell
you
you,
again.
I'm gonna tell you all how important Jeff is to me. Now, generally speaking, if you schedule an appointment with me, if you don't show up, I will never reschedule you again. Honestly, like if you call the Women's Business Center and you're like, I have an appointment with Shirley, we check the system. And if you did not show up and you were a no-show and you've never called or anything else, you will never get another appointment. Just an FYI. Mr. Conley, while of course he has communicated the whole time, is so busy and so popular. Is this our third time rescheduled?
Yes.
The third time's the charm. But
Yeah,
I knew
it
that
is.
you all needed to hear from him.
That's right.
So we make it work. We make it work.
First
So-
time you forgot me.
Did I forget you the first
Yeah.
time? You love
I
me
was
just
so
like
excited because the
first
perfect
time.
one forgot. You
I
were boarding a
forgot you.
plane, remember?
Oh, that's right.
And I said, I'm on my way. You're like, oops.
That's not funny. That's
Yes.
terrible. That's terrible. That
The
is so,
one time that I
is
have
so
seen.
disrespectful.
Yeah, the one time I've seen the
Yeah.
master.
And
not-
this is why we don't call ourselves perfect. We
That's
let
right.
others say it.
That's right.
I was getting on a plane.
You
You
were.
are so correct. And I
That's
was
right.
like, you mean I didn't reach out to you?
Yeah.
Because we talked about it the week before. I was
We
like,
did.
oh, I'll reschedule Jeff.
Yeah.
So now I'm seeing Jeff did it on purpose.
There we
Ah.
go. But we're here. Third time's the charm.
We're here now.
Yes.
So
I'm excited.
Jeff is with Economic Development.
Actually, I'm with purchasing. So the purchasing finance department with Henrico County. I'm the
Okay.
supplier relations manager.
I always want to lump you all in together, although I know that you're perfectly separate. Are you all in the
We
same
are
building?
separate. Nope. They're across the street.
Okay.
They have money. I don't. I
And
have
th-
resources.
And there you have it. But you're there to spend other people's money.
There you go.
Or to
And I do a
help
good
other
job.
people spend their money.
Yeah. I do it well.
So, okay. So you're in purchasing and finance
Yes.
with Henrico County.
Yes.
But what was the journey that got you here?
That's a great question. Thanks. I was a banker.
Wells
Work-
Fargo.
What was Wells Fargo, Wachovia here locally, and work with a lot of small businesses. And I
Mm.
really say that I often wish that I had known people like me or people like Shirley Crawford, because small businesses would come in, and if we couldn't help them, we just sent them on their way.
Yeah.
It's not a good thing. Wasn't a good look. But I started working for a local nonprofit advocacy group, the Minority Supplier Development Council. It's Virginia is one of 27 affiliates throughout the country. Worked a lot in minority relations and supplier diversity, and it just parlayed its way into Henrico County, where I'm working with small women and minority-owned businesses.
And so I know for that agency, they're advocates for small business owners with corporations, universities, other organizations, and helping them. So because whenever we talk about procurement,
Yes.
small business owners, Part of the reason why we get so excited about sharing these resources with you is because we recognize there are certain buzzwords that we all say, certain
Mhm.
alphabet soup we all spew,
Mhm.
and you as a small business owner is kind of left going, how does that relate to me? So when we talk about procurement, if you are any type of small business owner, your ears need to like totally like zone in,
That's right.
right? But procurement means someone's going to buy something and it should be from you.
Right.
And so that's part of the advocacy that you all were doing there.
Yes.
And that's translated to what you're doing now. But is it the opposite in now? So basically, you're working with the county to help
Sure.
them procure.
I am. I am. So I was advocating with the when I was with the other organization for the vendors, basically, right? The MBEs were my product. So the
Mhm.
minority business owner was my product that I was selling to corporate America. Now I'm a local municipality and I advocate again for MBEs, but more around doing business and encouraging an inclusive economy in Henrico.
Yeah. We love those. So before those were buzzwords, we know that
Mhm.
right now everyone is saying diversity, inclusion.
Yeah.
They're all creating these DEI positions,
Yes.
but you've been doing it a lot longer than
I
since it's
have.
been, a thing.
Right. Thank you for acknowledging that. Yeah, so more than just the flavor of the month. I always say I live in Henrico and I work for Henrico, and it is a great place to live and work.
I have no
That was my
argument for
plug.
that. I have no argument to that. The Women's Business Center is located in
In
Henrico
Henrico.
County.
Yes, 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 yes. And you came a knocking
I
and said, I'm coming to the county, Jeff.
indeed.
In
Yeah.
fact, you didn't come to me.
I
You
did
went to
not.
senior leaders
I didn't even
and they
at
invited
that
me.
point, I didn't know that Jeff existed. See, I was like you all once upon a time, which is why I wanna help you go through I wanna
That's
just help you
right.
leap that hurdle and take you
Yeah.
directly to the source.
Yeah.
Yes, I went to our supervisor
Yes.
and said, "Okay, we're coming to the county," because we weren't even officially, like, in place. I was like,
Mhm.
"We're coming to the county. What are you all gonna do for us? Like, how do you help us?" And so when you're an entrepreneur, like small business owners, for some reason, they're scared to ask those questions.
And you have to be bold. And so, Shirley, I applaud you for the things that you do. You know that. I'm a big Shirley Crawford fan.
I love Jeff Conley.
And I applaud your efforts because you came with a certain boldness. You were very professional. I think they invited you to the board of
Yeah.
supervisors meeting that
And
night.
we got to present and share about what we were doing and who we were.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, and my role is very much like that, making sure that small business owners have a voice, right? And I think that's important. One of the things that I appreciate about my role with Henrico is it's my dedicated 100% role, right? That's all I
Which
do,
most people don't have. For them,
right?
it's like, oh, 5%
Yeah,
tacked on to whatever other job they have
yeah,
to think about diversity and inclusion.
right. Absolutely. And so when you think about it that way, you and I both know um, that affects your output.
Mhm.
The effort that you put into it affects your output. And so it literally is all I do 24/7. Well, not 24/7.
No, we are allowed to have a
Yeah,
life.
I was
We
gonna
do
say,
talk about,
yeah,
living in balance.
yes,
We
yes.
can have family and outings and excursions.
Mhm,
Yes, yes,
mhm.
yes.
Every now and again,
Yeah, yeah, we mix
but
them in.
it is a great job. And so back to your point about I didn't just start, and I appreciate that. Thank you for recognizing and acknowledging that
Oh,
because
you've
it's
been
a
doing
hard
it.
road.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think about part of the reason why I like for us to make sure that we're introducing resources to you is because the unfortunate thing is you get some great ones in and then they're gone. And so then if you are not in the circle at the table, looped in, you keep going, well, like I just heard that Randy Brown changed jobs. Still same agency, has changed roles.
Mm,
And
mm.
so if you're going,
Sure.
and he's such a great resource
Yes.
for people at the SBSD, Small Business Supplier Diversity. Don't worry,
Right,
I
right.
won't alphabet
More
soup
alphabet
you,
soup. Right,
right?
right.
And so if you're going, oh my God, I finally got a good connection with someone like Randy, and he's not there. He's still in the agency, people. Don't freak out. Just a different role. he will send you over to the person who is taking over for him. It's okay.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
a lot of times that's not the case. Like I
no,
think about with Tracy Wiley. Like when
yes.
she left the agency, I was like,
What are we gonna
what am
do?
I
That's
gonna
right. That's
do?
right. So
What
here
am
is a great
I
lesson,
gonna do?
Shirley. Here's what I've learned, and I shared this with MBEs. When you're dealing with corporations and localities or whoever you're dealing with, you have to dig deep. Okay. Here's a good example. So, for example, it would be nice to know who Jeff Conley reports to, right?
Mm. Do you report with Anthony? Anthony,
I do not. So, Anthony's on the EDA side. I love the fact that you think that I could report to him. There are many layers between me and
See,
him,
this is what even
but I
I
love
need
him.
education. We all need education.
Right. But you do have to dig deep. So I report directly to our finance director, our director of finance, and he is a great guy and really gives me a lot of autonomy to do the things that I do, right? Leverage those opportunities. But folks need to know. So if you're in a corporation and you're dealing with them, who is that person report to or who reports to them so that
Indeed.
you have some sort of rapport that when they leave, that somebody knows Shirley Crawford. Now, I could leave the county today and many people know Shirley Crawford. You're a prime example.
Well, the connections are very helpful,
Yes.
especially when you're talking about connecting the dots.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask this question though. So one, I'm gonna get back to you on who your boss is because we haven't met. So that
That's
needs to be remedied.
right. That's exactly right. I will make sure that
Need to
happens.
fix that.
That's right.
Although I have had the pleasure of meeting Anthony Romanella. Romanella, am I
Yeah.
saying that?
Manello.
Lovely gentleman who isn't over economic
Oh,
development.
yep. Yes. And
And
we partner. So the authority, the Economic Development Authority, Henrico's Economic Development Authority runs parallel with Henrico government. And so it's seamless. So I say all the
so
time,
much
they
so
have
that
money
I lump them in together
all
all the
together.
time.
So we're doing our job well. Because I say to folks all the time, if I don't have that resource, I can point you to the correct one. And I try to do that without any because we know local government is tough,
You
right?
know,
And the
oh yes,
barriers, right?
yes, very
Yeah.
much so.
So make it seamless.
And so, but when you talk about the barriers, right? Because there are some people who go, so right now, I feel like we're coming to the end of this sweet spot where people
Mhm.
care about Black and brown business owners, women. So when we talk about that whole SWAM certification, small women and or minority,
Sure.
I firmly believe we're coming to the end of this bubble. Like,
Hmm.
especially as we are in this pseudo recession and all these other things are happening. When people's homes are in question, they don't feel like they have the luxury of caring, or they think of caring as a luxury rather than what should be innately a part of your character, integrity, and how you run your business. This should be your mission and vision to have diversity and inclusion. If for no other reason, diversity and inclusion has been shown statistically to bring in more money
Right.
for your company.
Right.
So even if you are narcissistic and only concerned about the bottom line is positively,
Sure.
exponentially positively impacted by having diverse staff, diverse vendors. That diversity, you win, people.
A
You win.
diverse workforce, a diverse supply chain, a diverse,
Indeed.
absolutely.
See,
And the time is always right
to
to
do
do.
right. If y'all don't know that quote, you're on the wrong show.
I live by it. I live by it
But it's
because we
the
have to think
truth.
that way.
But but I can accept, especially as an entrepreneur, that every do good thing doesn't do well for your bottom line. I can accept that.
Mhm.
But for this, you cannot deny how beneficial it is. So as we're talking about the fact that I firmly do believe that we're approaching a point where we're going to go back to the status quo of me and my four, no more. That's all I care about. Um,
How do we circumvent that though?
that is the question I'm about to ask you, Mr. Conley.
Okay.
Oh.
I ask you first because I don't have the answer. No.
I think in part having the conversations, right?
Yes.
I think so part of it for me is I think back to the time when I worked at GE. I worked for GE Financial, um, and then that translated to GE Corporate.
Sure.
And they actually had the reason that GE has a women's network, an African American network, which is something I've seen in a lot of other Fortune,
Mhm.
they're Fortune 25. Um, I've seen in a lot of the higher end corporations is because they've seen the numbers. I
Mhm.
don't think the general business has seen the numbers. right? There are actual studies that have been done to show that when you spend more money, spend more investment in diversifying the workforce, in diversifying your clientele, in making sure that your products apply to more than just the 65-year-old white man, you actually get a lot more dollars in.
Absolutely.
And I think in part, I look at the example, we were just talking earlier before we started the show about the fact that I got to go to Bubba's block party.
Yep.
And so for those of you going, who's Bubba? Bubba Wallace. I don't get the Bubba either. I'm like, well, I mean, he's from like Alabama or something. So maybe Bubba comes naturally. But he's a young 27, 28-year-old who is the only full-time African-American driver in NASCAR. And so I'm not a big NASCAR fan, but because I'm
loud.
It's not my thing.
Dirty, right?
It's like running on a treadmill. I'm like, where are we going?
Right.
Where are we going?
Right.
Where are we going? Am I just waiting for a crash?
Right.
I don't want to wait for a crash.
Absolutely.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Absolutely.
And so I'm not a big NASCAR fan, but I have spent money and making investment. So right now, for those of you who can't see,
we're advertising
they gave me the shirt though. They gave us the shirt at the block party, but I actually took time to go to the block party. I bought his car. Okay. I have a shirt. Like I'm looking at, like I'm actually investing my money. Yeah. I'm talking about NASCAR,
That is so critical. That's how we circumvent it, right? You are supporting, for the purposes of this conversation, our own.
Yes, most definitely.
Right? And it's, while you may have gotten that shirt free, you bought one.
Oh, I've bought all kinds of stuff.
Exactly.
I'm looking online to intentionally purchase more items. Yeah.
We ought to send this broadcast to him, right?
Hey, Bubba, come on the show.
That's exact.
Bubba,
come on the show. We're giving you all this advertisement. No, but anyway, I think that's how we somewhat circumvent it, because there's power in our dollars.
Most definitely.
Right?
And certain
we don't
communities
maximize
have
that
lots
as much.
of dollars, and we're spending them. Getting credit for them is very helpful. And so I think in part that could even be like a social media campaign. Right? I bought it. Something along those lines. Hashtag I bought it. So that it can be recognized and known that this is the population. Like most companies have excellent marketing data that they're accumulating. Yes. So to be able to, I'm sure if you all, I just feel like it's a challenge. Right. You put it in place, and if you don't make the money back, then really your product must be terrible.
Life can be a struggle. Find hope, healing, and answers at the Abundant Life Church of Christ, a place to encounter God through uplifting worship, singing, prayer, the preach word, and fellowship. One step can change your life. One step could shift your destiny. There has never been a better time to take that step than now. Come be our guest every Sunday at 10 a.m. at the Abundant Life Church of Christ, a place where you belong.
Ladies, are you looking to move your office from your kitchen table to a space of your own? Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Are you looking for co-working and community? Well, then come join us at the Women's Business Center, RVA, located at 1510 Willow Lawn Drive, Suite 100, directly across the street from the Kroger at Willow Lawn. Visit us on the web at wbcrva.com or on social media at WBCRVA. When you're ready for more than just office space, come join the WBCRVA family.
Hi, I'm Rita Ricks. I'm inviting you to Pour at Uncorked Raleigh Wine and Coffee Bar on Saturday, September 10th from 4 to 7. They're located at 10511 Shadow Lawn Drive in Raleigh, North Carolina. The host will pour your wine choice as you enjoy networking. I'm going to take a few minutes to pour some wisdom and encouragement into you. Register on Eventbrite. Pour at Uncorked Raleigh Wine Coffee Bar tickets.
Help your business stand out from the crowd by building your brand success through social media management. We're located at 1510 Willow Lawn Drive, Suite 100. Our website is www.socialitarva.com. You can also give us a call at 804-484-2001. Again, Socialita.
Imagine Media Lab partnered with the Women's Business Center offers hourly rental to a multimedia studio. Create or edit digital assets for marketing, record that podcast you've always wanted to start, voiceovers, and live stream. All equipment and software is included in your hourly rental. Located at the Women's Business Center, 1510 Willow Lawn Drive, ImagineMediaLabs.com. Book your session today.
I mean, that
I wasn't expecting that, but I think you're right. Your product must be
Yeah.
terrible, but how do we do it? So, and because when we align ourselves and we align our resources, it happens all the time in Central Virginia. The Black Business Food Week, right? Where everybody
The restaurant
decide
week, yeah.
restaurant week,
Yep.
where we decide we're going. I mean, we find Black restaurants in every nook and cranny, and we support them. In fact, people will say, "Hey, let's go to lunch. It's Black, Restaurant Week." So we need to do that more than just seasonally,
Mm-hmm.
right? How do we do that? How do we maximize our resources to say that? And conversely, Shirley, here's what I would say across the board: how do we maintain more than just the status quo, right? Because we, the mom and pops
Mm-hmm.
that we're supporting, it's their bread and butter, literally. We're talking about restaurants, but for a franchise or a chain, it's not
Yeah.
as critical to the success. Let's just
And
say
that goes
that.
back into just the shop local,
Yes.
it's not just a theme for October or,
Yeah.
for Small Business Week or Small Business Month.
Mhm.
Um,
Or
and so,
February, because there's not enough days
right.
in that month. I contend
There-
we need
there-
another month.
I'm going to support like the whole year.
Yes,
While we're in school
that's right.
learning, all
That's
these things should be
exactly right.
integrated.
Sure.
So who was I just having this conversation with? Like, what were we doing beforehand? Oh, I was watching Christina. Christina, our producer here at the Imagine Media Lab.
Oh, it's very great. She's so gracious.
Oh, she is amazing, and she does it all.
Let's advertise her.
Oh, I do all the time.
Okay, all right.
I am a
I
walking
need your
advertisement.
card or your digital or your something, Christina.
Well, she had me watching this piece earlier, and it was about Japanese individuals and their history, like
Sure.
the fact that they were imprisoned right here in the United
Mhm.
States. And so there are a lot of things that we don't talk about because there is this feeling of guilt
Sure.
that others have,
Sure.
but that doesn't change the history of it all.
Does not.
And so I don't think it's a matter of who had that campaign. We're not asking for a handout, we're asking for a hand.
Yeah.
I can hear the song playing in
Sure.
my head.
Me too.
This is not a pity party,
No.
right? So if you have, it's the same thing when we talk about networking and connecting.
Absolutely.
So when we're looking at, I know I always talk about entrepreneurship. It's where my heart is. It's what I know. It's what I love. But some of you are not risk takers and you're just not there. Okay. For you, I still say, please get a side hustle. You need to not be dependent on someone else for your income.
I love it. Right.
In the meantime, though, when you're in the process of getting hired as an employee or as a contractor or as a vendor to someone, people generally look for the person that looks like them. That's where they feel comfortable.
Sure.
So this education piece is more, I think it's more than just a one-time seminar, one-time session. Like, I think there's a piece of the education on what is the value, what's the real value on diversity.
Sure.
And so
I think we don't, I think we have to change our messaging, right? Because what we continually hear is the business case for supplier diversity. We should be so much further along than that,
It would be nice if we were.
right? Okay, but we're not. So we have to have those difficult conversations or those sensitive conversations, right? What I also understand, Shirley, is that I'm not in every, I'm, I'm in on very few decisions on purchasing in Henrico, but I'm there to advocate for those business owners, right? So I'm in a room that maybe you're not, and they talk about what are some resources, or there is a request or an ask for education. Well, we have the Women's Business Center right at Willow Lawn, or any number of the great business owners that I have seen both startups and seasoned, who do a great job. Let's say in the service industry, I'm able to talk to agency heads about their expertise. So your product or your service should be so good that people are talking about you even when you're not in the room.
There is most definitely that.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know though. So I'm a small business owner. This is hypothetical, although I
Yes.
am a
Yes,
small
you are.
business owner.
Yes.
Um, I'm a small business owner. I want to do business in Henrico
Yes.
County. How do people connect with you to know, what you do outside of the fact that they're listening right now to this show?
That's right. That's exactly right.
How do they
How do
make
we
that
do that?
connection?
So there are a couple different ways. It's by referrals, right? You refer people to me, I refer people to you. My information is on the county's website as the supplier relations manager. Our agency heads refer people to me, particularly, and I so appreciate this that I've now gotten some leverage with them where they say, Jeff, this person wants to do business with us, but they're not ready. Can you help them? Yay! I like that. I like that
Yeah.
because that's providing an opportunity, and it's proving to them that I'm somewhat of a subject matter expert. But it is just reaching out to me directly. Like all of my information is out there. I always say to vendors, connect with me on LinkedIn, right? Because there are so many resources. Because I like Shirley's stuff or I like this person's stuff.
You are
And if you
actually
want an
you are
introduction, I'll
an
give it to
excellent
you.
LinkedIn communicator. I do have to say that. I will often
Thank
see,
you.
well, Jeff like this, so then I'll go read that. Or, you commented here, you did
Right.
this. You're very engaged on LinkedIn.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Um, I, I'm humbled. Thank you for saying that. That was very
It's
nice.
true.
Yeah, thank you. But I like to make those connections for vendors where I can, right? And I have said this to vendors. May not be an opportunity here at the county for now, but
Mhm.
let's see where there are some opportunities. Can I connect you with my colleagues at City of Richmond? Can I connect you with my colleagues at, Altria
And
or any of
and
those?
everyone has their own procurement system.
Yes.
And so
Yes,
I,
that's
I
true.
I think about the fact that
We don't, by the way. So we can break that one down. We don't have our own system like some folks have a database where they tell you go out there and sign up for the database. Okay, you can do that. That's step number one. But you also want to connect with that person, right?
mhm.
So don't just take the word of, hey, I've signed into the database and assume that they're going to look for you. Because more often than not, they won't.
Talk about that process. And if you
Yeah.
can, talk
Yes.
about how it's different for Henrico than it might be
Yes.
for Chesterfield, who does have their
Yes.
own system,
Yes.
or Richmond
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
our primary three for the moment.
Sure, sure. So we're kind of encompassed all of Central Virginia, right? So in theory, because we have to think about what works best for your area, right?
Mhm.
And so these people are my friends, so I can't really talk about them. But all right, so there's a database that you have out there. And a lot of times in corporate America, that's what they'll say. Go out there and log into our database. And you do want to do that, right? That is step number one. But again, like I said, step two is making sure that you formed a relationship with that person who's either managing that database or sending folks to that database, because they may be able to say, Jeff Conley has a wonderful widget business. He's in our database. But if they have not formed a relationship with you, the
Mhm.
database is almost like a black hole sometime, right? Because what we do, we in theory, not the county, but what we do in theory is we go to the familiar. And so if we have
But
this
that's what
person,
everyone does.
right? So if we have this person who's been providing a service to us and all things are equal, then we'll continue to go to them until someone says, why are we not doing anything different? And that's my role to do that. We don't have a database in Henrico because we don't want to manage that. So what happens at this point? Maybe at some point we will. Um, our database is basically the EVA system that is out
For the
there, an
states.
EVA, electronic procurement system for Virginia of the states, because our program mirrors the state's program. So I say to people, they say they want to be in your, I want to be in your database. And I was like, if you're in EVA, you're in
You're in
my
the
database.
database.
There you go. There you go. But I still want to talk to you about your product or your service. I still want to understand what your goals are. I still want to see, if there are opportunities. And so what I will share with folks is, okay, you're a bricklayer. And so if we have a bricklayer contract, I will share with you, as long as there's nothing proprietary, I'll share with you our master bricklayer contract. right? So you see what we're looking for, what our terms are, how long that contract is in effect. Because if we've signed a 5-year contract, you could come knocking every day, but
Yeah, that'll
for
be.
5 years, it's not going to be good.
So then for Henrico,
Yes.
you're utilizing EVA,
Yes.
which every small business owner can register for. EVA is also set up that you can apply for your SWAM certification,
Yep.
your MB. There are your disadvantaged, your veteran. You can actually register so that all that's noted in your information, your profile within EVA, and you can even set it up with your keywords. So
Commodity codes
yes,
or
and
right,
your
right.
next code. Oh, also
Next
next codes.
Yeah, yeah.
So all that information so that when searches are done, you can even get a report like in your email, and you can set it up for daily, weekly, however often you want to get it. I get tons of these reports, and I am not really doing a lot on EVA, but I
So
get
the
them all the
EVA
time.
system for us is where we put all of our formal solicitations. So if you want to know what we're buying, what we're servicing for,
And who is buying it?
and who is buying it.
So
Absolutely.
that's the other thing. That's part of the reason why I actually like EVA. Now, if you're in
Yes.
a different state,
Transparent.
it might be a little bit different.
Sure.
But every state has something set up.
Yes.
And then as I talk with Jeff, we're talking about a specific municipality within our state, which is within the metropolitan Richmond area, but that's Henrico County.
Yes.
All right. So your region might do it differently, but there's still something set up similar.
Yeah. We
Right?
talked about Chesterfield.
Yes.
Right? Our good friends at Chesterfield
Yes, and they
who
have
do
their own system.
yes, ping the database, right? And I always say to vendors, okay, get into that database that Chesterfield has because you don't want to miss, right? I understand I think they're still using the EVA system, but it could be something in one that there's not. Won't
And there's
hurt
a
being
lot
them
of
all.
information there.
Yes.
And so when we talk about for you as entrepreneurs, we need you not to be lazy.
Right.
So
There's an effort that needs to be put forth.
yes, and
Right.
we need you to be informed, but sometimes that information you haven't had access to.
Sure.
Or it's coming from someplace like I know like Randy sends out emails all the time,
Yeah.
or I don't know who's replacing
Brown.
Randy yet.
Or
It's not Randy.
whoever is going to be
Whoever is
Randy
going to be
Brown.
there.
The person playing Randy Brown.
There's the
That's
artist formerly known as Randy Brown.
That's right. That's
Someone is always sending out something saying this is our next seminar
Sure.
that we have coming up, and now they made it even easier. They're virtual seminars, so you can do it on Zoom.
Yeah.
You can go in person. You can go online. There are really no excuses. I just don't want it to be that you don't know.
right.
All right. So when it comes to purchasing, I'm sticking with the county because
Yes,
we have the
please.
county representative right here, and we're actually
Henrico
sitting
County.
in Henrico County
That's exactly right.
right now.
All right.
So the buyer information. Do
Mhm.
you all have a slew of buyers that people are generally whenever for each
Mhm.
contract, or is it centralized a little bit more?
Mhm. What a great question. That's an opportunity for me to share our world. It is very centralized, right? So we have Henrico County, which is encompassing of our government center and all
Mhm.
of our administrative functions, Department of Public
I
Utilities,
do love the
Public
hub
Works.
of all of your
Yes.
offices right there.
Yeah. And it allows for great collaboration, right? So that I
Mhm.
can just walk over to so-and-so's office and ask. Or someone says, this is going on, and I'm like, that doesn't sound right. Let me find out for you. So we have our government center as well as EDA. And then, of course, the schools that we have. So our school system.
Mm.
All of that purchasing is centralized in one area. And so we have buyers that are purchasing or helping with the purchases, right? Because again, the buyers don't make the decisions as well. We are the conduit, right? So it's much more centralized. It's not like you have someone who's purchasing for it's not like you have a schools purchasing and a government purchasing and an EDA purchasing. It is one purchasing. And the benefit for our vendors is, again, like most localities, it's all transparent, right? And you're going to get the same treatment wherever you are, right? We're not bending any rules because it's this place or that.
Exactly.
So yeah, it is centralized. Thanks for asking that.
Well, that's very helpful because this is the thing that I always think about. Whenever I'm sharing with a client or someone else and they're going into Eva or they're using Ping or whatever software that they're utilizing, I keep saying the information is there. The buyer is listed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think to the fact that I've met a lot of the buyers between Henrico County, Richmond, and Chesterfield.
Yeah.
And the thing I've heard repeatedly is they're open, that you can call. You can't really buy them lunch and all that stuff.
You cannot.
Because,
you cannot.
yeah.
We do take water though.
Yeah, see,
We take
we're glad to share the water. But
Right.
they can't take stuff from you legally, because then it seems like bribery. And we know we don't want any of those situations. But most everyone that I've met that's a buyer is like, I'm open.
And you know what, Shirley? Here's what I love about, well, I love my job anyway, but here's what I love about the purchasing or the procurement process in local government. Let's say that there's a solicitation, okay? So let's say that there is a request for proposal.
An RFP, we say all day, but that's what it stands
RFP,
for.
request for proposal, out on the streets, which means we've publicized it and everybody is out there. For those potential bidders, folks who want to bid on that RFP, who say, I want to do this service, what happens is you ask a question. Once it hits the streets, as we say, again, terminology, we answer to everyone, right? So you could say to me, Jeff, what are the terms for payment? Of course, that's something that's already out there. But I'm not going to just say to you, hey, Shirley, the terms of payment are X, Y, and Z. I'm saying it globally, and we publish that because, again, to your point, we don't want it to appear that there's any favoritism being
And
shown.
when you're publishing, are you all posting those notes in Eva?
Yes, in Eva and on our website. So you'll see questions and answers, and I want to make it as easy for our vendors as possible. So I say you have several different sources and ways of finding out how to do business with Henrico. Call me. Our solicitations are on Eva. You can bookmark our county's website. And Eureka, I have now copied the link and it's in my signature line. All of our current solicitations and those things are
I
there.
didn't notice that. I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go
Click
back
on the link
and get the shortcut with the link.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Just
thought
go to
I
my
knew
email.
What was in your signature? I didn't know.
The latest and the greatest.
I learned something new.
Right. And I learned that from a colleague who is in local government, and I saw hers and I was like, this is great. And it's up to date all the time. Because the worst thing for a vendor and for me, because I love to be able to make those connections, is for you to come and say, hey, I'm interested in such and such. And I say, we had a solicitation for that 2 weeks ago. Right. I don't like that.
I unfortunately had that experience with someone recently. I was like, somebody was just looking for that. Where were you?
Right. Exactly. So it's always a good idea to check out there. And that's why I say bookmark it, right? Look for it. I'm not always, a lot of things I can hear folks saying, like, we're looking for this or whatever, and I'll think of it, but I just always go back and look.
Well, in this case, we know that as an entrepreneur, you have to be your own advocate.
Yep.
Right. But once again, you have wonderful resources like the amazing Jeff Conley. Jeff, I was going to give you a middle name.
Jeff is the middle name, so I won't say it. That's right.
Jeff doesn't
I'm
tell.
undercover.
Jeff doesn't tell. If he doesn't want you to know, he's not telling you. But he does want you to know how to do business with the county.
And be successful.
He does want that for you.
One of the things, Shirley, one of our good friends always says is, don't be so focused on working in your business that you're not working on your business. Who says that? Rita Ricks.
Oh, duh.
Yeah.
Speaking of Rita Ricks.
There we go. We're name droppers here. But they're great people. Great small business owners.
We know amazing people. And we're not trying to hide it. We're actually trying to connect them to the people who need them.
You too. Yes. And so when I think of it that way, you may not be able to have a dedicated person to just work on RFPs or marketing or go to all these databases, but maybe you dedicate time. And I learned this.
I love a good block schedule.
There we go. I learned this from a tremendous entrepreneur, that you tithe your time.
Indeed.
You taught me that.
Oh, well, that one I knew.
That's right. Who said that? But yes.
I know who said that.
That's right. I've learned that. And I think that is so critical for business owners, right? You have to be able to set an amount of time and be disciplined and organized about it.
And in a time where I don't mean to have the negative predictions, but in a time where I think things are going to get questionable, it's highly beneficial to have a contract with a government organization.
Mhm.
Because here, as I look at the federal government, even when they lock down and don't pay you for 3 months because they're on, some type of furlough or whatever, they're eventually going to come back and pay you.
They get caught up.
Yeah,
They
they
catch
will.
up.
Oh,
Yeah.
they will.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
to me, one of the beautiful things about doing business with the county, the city, the federal government, it's guaranteed, as opposed to doing business with another organization, which may or may not be there.
Right.
Just say. So to me, this is low hanging fruit.
Right.
It's the easier of money. And you can develop those relationships. You can get to know the Jeff Conleys of the world. I'm not being selfish. I'm sharing.
Yes.
You can get to
Thank
know
you.
Jeff. You can go over and meet Ebony
Right.
and Kayla.
And you know what I think about as well, Shirley, and you've done a great job of this. So thank you for being in our county, and thank you for being such a resource to business owners. But it's collaboration and connecting folks, right? So how about you may own a lawnmower and I may own a lawnmower, right? By myself, I can't cut all the grass that's required.
Indeed.
But if you and I combine, right, or we collaborate and we partner.
Most definitely. And there's an option on Eva just for that.
Yes.
For subcontracting. And so I just don't want people to think that I'm too small, I'm too little, I'm not enough, I can't do it.
More often than not, you're not too small, but it's just about having the appropriate resources.
Yes. And so the number one resource we want you to have is Jeff Conley.
You're hilarious.
If you're in our region, we register with Eva, register with Ping, register for the city, the counties, etc. And then really, if you don't know what you're doing, that's still no excuse, because the SBSD, we explained that one earlier.
Right.
They actually have trainings on how to use Eva.
Yes.
They will do a one-on-one with you. They have these hour-and-a-half long sessions with, normally it was Randy, but whoever's in your region. It could be Courtney. It could be one of the other individuals.
Whoever's in your region. That's exactly
that will
right.
sit down with you one-on-one and help you figure out what are the right codes. Who do you want to do? How do you want to operate this? They have seminars. I see so many seminars and workshops coming across my email, and then the attendance is not that great.
Not there. And so, Jeff Conley, right? I said, connect with me on LinkedIn, right? I used to say I'm the only Jeff Conley out there, but I'm not. In Richmond, there is another one. He and I have now connected because, funny story, he was speaking somewhere. I had a friend who said, I didn't realize you were on this platform. Can't wait to hear you speak. It was a virtual. And I'm looking at my calendar like, I don't have an appointment. I don't have a speaking engagement today. And then I am actually sent a copy of the agenda where it says Jeff Conley. And I don't know what's happening. Oh my God, I'm running late. Where is this? Yes. And turns out it was another. But Jeff Conley, Henrico County, let's connect on LinkedIn. I'll even give you my phone number, right? It's 804-501-5689.
Did you all get that? I already have that.
804-501-5689. I want to help our businesses succeed.
And that's why we have him here. We want your business to be successful. And there's really no excuse for it. So if we're here at WorkHARDaholics, if we can share a resource, a tool, a gem like the Jeff Conley, we're happy to do so.
Does that make me one now? Am I not quite? Okay. All right.
Okay, actually, I would say Jeff already had the title. We'll make it official. Make it official. Jeff Conley is most definitely a workaholic.
Yeah.
So we're signing off and saying goodbye. But Jeff, once again, thank you so much for allowing us to get on that busy schedule of yours. And thank you, Henrico County, for sharing him today. We appreciate it.
Shirley, you're a jewel. Before we sign off, you are a jewel, and the time that you take.
He'll be a diamond. I'll be an emerald.
That's exactly right. But the time that you take to educate and provide resources is by far legendary. So
thank you, sir.
I appreciate that.
From one legend
you helped
to
me
another.
do my job better.
We're in this together.
All right.
We're saying goodbye to the rest of you, though. So as we always say, live better, do better, be better, and happy entrepreneuring. See you next week. like, share, subscribe, repeat. Like, share, subscribe, repeat. Like, share, subscribe, repeat. 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 Thanks for tuning in to WorkHARDaholics. Support our show by following on YouTube and all major social media platforms at WorkHARDaholic. Until next week, happy entrepreneuring.